Wine and Words. Sean Murphy, tell me a little bit about what that is.
So this is a new series. It's a new collaboration that 1455 has undertaken with Kalero Vineyards. And this has a lot of meaning to me on a couple of levels. One, Ann Botsford, who's the owner of Kalero, this beautiful winery, is a longtime friend of mine. So not only is it a collaboration of kindred spirits, but she and I have supported each other through our various iterations and really kind of followed each other's paths. And it just seemed so authentic when she talked to me this fall and said, I want to start doing more events at the winery. And I thought of you as someone that is bringing community together. And I thought, we haven't collaborated with a winery, so what better way to facilitate some art, some conversation, and the opportunity for people to discover her amazing wine in this beautiful space, which is ideal for, I think, a four-season type vibe. I think this place, like where we are right now, is so perfect for like a nice winter day where you can hunker down. Outside is gorgeous, so when the weather permits, the rolling hills of Purcellville are visible. So really, this is an opportunity for us to try to bring two different art forms together: winemaking, word making, wordsmithing, and part of what everything 1455 does is free programming and an emphasis on celebrating storytelling, and whenever possible to introduce communities. So I think a nice sub-community can grow out of these events where people are looking forward to every month. There's going to be a new person here, presumably who's written a book or is in the wordsmithing field, and bring people together for conversation.
I love the format of the event, and I can definitely vouch the views and the wines are both spectacular. So well worth it for those as well.
Absolutely.
So as executive director of 1455, can you talk a little bit about what other programming 1455 provides?
Sure. So as I mentioned, all of our programming is by design free. So we want to, and we have been building, I think, a robust variety of free inclusive programming, which includes our monthly author series, where I will speak about a recent book and speak directly to the author. They will typically do a reading, and then we'll discuss the book, the craft of writing, their life, etc. That's always a great opportunity to turn people on to hot new books, and it builds that author's community, in its own organic way. We also have the 1455 interview series, where the idea is within 14 minutes and 55 seconds, I'm going to talk to an author about 10 to 15 questions. They're the same every time, and it's a real opportunity to not talk about the book or the PR stuff so much as really go under the hood and see what makes that particular artist tick. We have our bi-monthly, I won't even call it a magazine, it's a multimedia artistic experience, which I believe you know a little bit about as our creative director. But Movable Type, of course, is a digital forum for, of course, we are happy to showcase poets and novelists and all kinds of creative writing, but we've increasingly incorporated essays, memoir, academic type writing, and lately and wonderfully, music, visual art, paintings, and music. When I say dance, really anything that can be called storytelling, we want to feature in Movable Type. And every 2 months that a new issue comes out, and that is accompanied by a live reading where the contributors to that issue have an opportunity to engage in a virtual format. And certainly not least, we have our annual Summerfest. In July of every year, we have a 3-day hybrid event, which is, due to the pandemic, had become virtual. This year, we're going to do a bit of both, which I think is a total win-win, where we can make it super inclusive, and as we have in the last couple of years, had a truly global audience, both in terms of participation and the talent on offer. But this year, we're also going to have the final day.
This year, I was going to say, so much of the programming, since I've been a part of the organization, was born, during the pandemic. And in the past 6 months, we've done a lot of planning on rolling into doing in-person events. And so, just to prompt you for talking about day 3 of Summerfest,
So yeah, day three Summerfest and this initiative both grew out of a very optimistic. This is end of 2021, where we assumed, and hopefully correctly, that we are definitely putting the pandemic in the rear view. So we needed to at least start thinking about what do we do when the world is ready and it's safe to gather again. This series in particular certainly came out of you have to come to the vineyard, and these are intended to be live events where you're drinking wine in person, supporting this venue. But day three of the Summerfest, when we did our first one in 2019, it was all live. And I've said, to the point of it becoming redundant, but I mean it every time I say it, you can't replace what occurs when there's a live reading or a live exchange. So I'm really excited that day three of the festival this year will be at the Above ALX venue in Old Town Alexandria. Our keynote speaker is the New York Times bestselling author Jenna Bloom, who also happens to be a dear friend of mine. So it's with extraordinary pleasure that we include her in the festivities. And we are actively putting some pieces together for other big announcements in terms of the talent that will be on offer. But as of today, we already have more than 30 sessions planned. And again, spanning both a truly national but also international reflection of storytelling.
Being a part of the last two events, again, I think the Summerfest is just a phenomenal variety of programming. And one of the things that you hadn't mentioned yet is annually there's a teen poetry contest. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and thank you for reminding me. So that has been with us since the first year, and it is it's a young poets contest where the last 3 years it was the teen poet where we had 13 to 19. This year it's 13 to 19 and 20 to 25 year olds, two separate grand prize and runner-up winners, where we ask anyone from around the world in that age group to send us one or two original poems. They are blindly judged, and I have had the pleasure and am continuing to have the pleasure of having nationally recognized poets help me judge. And when we arrive it's an excruciating process. The quality the last few years has been absolutely unbelievable.
Remarkable talent last year.
Unbelievable talent. It's super inspiring. It's very informative to think that, as cynical as we may be inclined to be with the events of the world, we're in good hands in terms of the talent that is coming up behind us to speak for us. We have had a virtual reading and celebration for the grand prize winner and up to 10 runners-up. And again, that has literally included young poets from around the world. And we certainly hope that we will continue to get that kind of talent. This year, Arlington's poet laureate, Holly Karaktakova, who also is a friend of mine and I admire as a poet and a professor and a human being, will be part of the virtual ceremony on Friday, July 15th.
That's so exciting. And I imagine this year, we look forward to publishing the winners and the top talent from the Teen Poetry Contest in the following movable type issue that would release after the Summerfest event.
Yeah, it just works out perfectly that for the July issue of movable type, we make that the young poets version, and that accomplishes a lot of things, right? It gives us a genuine opportunity to publish these worthy writers, which is such a thrill for us. I know it's a thrill for them. It's an honor for us. We're able to also showcase more than just the winners. Last year we had, I want to say, closer to 20 than 10 poems. And again, it's just a wonderful opportunity for us to use our resources to put together this package that is solely dedicated to the young artists among us.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a first published opportunity for young talent.
For many of them, it's the first time they've appeared in print, and I know that's always a big thrill. And again, I would be remiss to not really say genuinely that it's really more our honor and thrill. I've been humbled to see the talent that we've read, probably over 500 poems since 2019. And it's a real labor of love. It's a lot of work. We take it very seriously, but it's everything. It's a chance for us to put our skin in the game and say, yes, we want to celebrate established authors, we want to celebrate first-time authors, storytellers, but to have a dedicated focus on the young talent is really meaningful to our mission.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned established authors. We've, in the past year and, as a part of the last Summerfest and leading up to the next one, actually had some rising stars in the mix. Do you want to name a few?
I would. We've had, I would say, the great fortune and luck. It's been fortuitous that we have connected with more than a handful of writers who I knew, I guess my spidey senses have been on point with some of these folks. But we had Angie Kim, who wrote Miracle Creek. We had her first reading event before she went on and did a national book tour. We then featured Douglas Stewart, who became the Booker Prize winning author of Shuggy Babe and just released Young Mungo, which became a #1 New York Times bestseller. Last year, we also featured Disha Filia, author of Secret Lives of Church Ladies, and Brian Broom, the author of the mega smash memoir, Punch Me Up to the Gods. Don't have any notes here, but so Brian Broom and Disha Filia, both of whom became all world, and a handful of other authors. Jenna Bloom has already been established, but I think with our growing credibility and people understanding that our mission being a nonprofit where all of our programming is free, it's given us an opportunity to engage with people that frankly are used to much bigger platforms. So I think that's a mutually rewarding kind of symbiotic relationship.
Definitely. And speaking of platforms, we should mention that you can find the interviews for all of those mentioned on the YouTube channel, which is 1455 Lit Arts. I don't know the exact URL, but if you search 1455 Lit Arts, a place for storytelling on YouTube, we are the account that comes up.
Or if you go to 1455litarts.org,
yes,
you can navigate through the movable type section. You can navigate through everything from our board of directors to the movable type link,
yes.
And then there's a nice handy avatar that'll take you directly to the YouTube site, where at this point, I think we have well over 100 videos of author events, Summerfest panels, and well over 100 events. So all of this is freely available, and I think that's our capstone. I think we're really proud, and it's team members like yourself that have helped us preserve and record and preserve and showcase. It's great enough to have these events, but to have footage that then people can discover and celebrate is really meaningful.
Yeah, I mean the Summerfest events, I know we've had on our own event platform, but many people might not know that we actually publish all of the footage from those events, which is all free programming, on our YouTube channel afterwards. So our YouTube channel is one platform, as well as all of our other social media channels, which is at 1455 Lit Arts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Technically / 1455 Lit Arts. But you can find all of our great pre-recorded streaming content and YouTube content. And what's next on there?
What's next? Wow. Well, so we've got the Kalero author series, and another wonderful set of circumstances. We have established a tremendous relationship with the Potter's House in the Adams Morgan neighborhood of DC. This is a historic, going back to the 60s, bookstore and cafe that initially was closely tied to the civil rights movement and has been a safe space, not only for creative discussion, but a focus on the lesser amongst us. They've got an unbelievable mission, which I recommend anyone check out at Potter's House, DC. We're going to start doing author events in person there. We will always do our best.
Yes.
Yeah, so we will always do our best to make those also inclusive and streaming for free, and we record them. But for those local folks, we're finally able to actually gather. And this Tuesday, we have our friend Lena Derhali, and we're going to talk about her new book, which I think is going to be huge, called The Facebook Narcissist. I've read it, and it touches on so many hot points, but it does it in a very intelligent and provocative way that really gets at the heart of what is going on with social media, and we can all articulate the good. What we're doing right now articulates why social media and technology are enabling inclusive content, and that's all to the good, but especially for the younger generation, the debilitating aspects of what social media entails is looked at really unsparingly. I learned a lot, and I'm really excited to see where that conversation will go, because Lena has become like a legit expert on this matter. So we're going to feature her, and check out our events page for upcoming authors. The wheels are always turning, but we want to have more events, not less, and we're always kind of widening our scope. And my hope is that we continue to have people in our mix so that these events are also featuring some of our in-house talent, so it's not just me doing the interviews.
Definitely.
Well, thanks, Morgan. I appreciate you taking the time to chat about all this stuff.
Thank you, Sean. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise, up here in the opium den at Kalero Vineyard.
Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow us on our social media channels to stay up to date with what's new for 1455. And also, we would like to ask for your support. We depend on champions like you to keep us going. Visit 1455litarts.org and click support to make a contribution in any amount. We'll see you soon.